All right, so what I want to do, yeah, that's better, is I want to move this to where it's a little bit less jammed on that. And we also want to maybe get it a little bit off of this down here below as well. Okay. I'm going to take this and I'll put this a little more to here, and then I'm going to just, I'm just doing this by grips. Okay, so that's fine. That part's not actually all that bad there, but I might want to make it straight to the page here and realize that back in model space, if we're in a rotation here, which I think we are we? Yes. So when I rotate this here, it's going to look different over there, which is going to be, it'll be fine. But let's do this. That text is fine. Let's see what the angle is for that text. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side, and I'm going to find this thing right here where it says rotation. I'm going to select that and copy. I'm now going to select this, and where it says rotation, I'm going to click down there and choose paste and hit enter. Voila. And now let's do the same thing. I'm going to pull this up here and then get this. Is that going to do what I want it to do? No, it did that weird thing. Let's undo that. How about we rotate that by that point? There we go. And I'll pull that into where it's sort of looking horizontal. Sorry. And as you can, wow. All right, so let's rotate that one more time about here. And let's turn off the snaps so that I don't accidentally snap it. And that's good. And we'll then take this. Oh, wow. This is really strange. All right. Let me turn off snaps just till I get through with this. We'll do that. Now I'm going to move this up to here. And then I'm going to just stretch this down. That is weird. All right. If the man won't go to the mountain, bring the mountain to the man. Found 3/4, found 3/4, you're pointing to that. Now is this, that's 6.35. Which line is that pointing to?
It's pointing to the line between those 2 points, which you can't see.
Ah, okay. So let's figure out how we can do that.
I did notice this. If you oh, that's interesting. Look at how that
Mhm.
point. If I put that in back, you can see the line.
Yes. That's because remember you're using those with wipeouts.
Oh,
So um, now your choices are to do a couple things. You could make the symbols smaller. You can clean out the white text. I'm going to, just for right now, just so you can see this. See, you could have something like that, where you're not showing, you're calling those things out, but because the lines are so tight, you could just not do it.
hmm.
Or you could take, you could do it like this. Let's redo that.
What did you do to bring those back? Just hit undo.
Yeah, I just all I did. So you could also do something like this, and I don't know if that's the primary corner, but it still sort of knocks away that. So I think, yeah, if you were going to do it, that would be more the case. Boy, that's a toughie. 10 feet, 6 feet. All right, so that other one points to it fine. I still think maybe those are okay. I wish to goodness that AutoCAD, and by extension IntelliCAD would fix that. There's no reason for you to have to see all that crap. It just gets in the way. And for whatever reason, they've decided that you should. All right, let's see what we can do with it like that, because that shows our lines. I think that's probably a little better. If we select that, we look over here, I've got 3 symbols, 6 blocks, and oh, I've also got the arc. You've got that. That's not a closed polyline, I see. So you've got just the symbols. I'm going to make them a little bit smaller, and I guess they're points. So I'm going to resize my point attributes. I think it will let me. I'm going to say scale, and let's make those 0.65 symbols only. That's what I was looking for. So I'm going to say symbols, And we'll select from the screen, and we're going to go here, here, and here. And now if we select those, let's see what we can get away with here. Oh, I know why. Huh. It might be okay there. All right, I like that. Now, you remember all of this stuff, that arrowhead, everything getting goofy?
Yeah.
With this, it's because it's a leader, it's a form of a dimension. There's something going on with it. Here's what you can do with leaders and dimensions that you can't get to work right, including those things like these up here, those little widths and stuff. Remember, we had a hard time trying to get them to respond.
Yeah.
But if you're getting down to the brass tacks and you're just needing to get some mapping done, and you no longer really need to worry about this staying anything, select it and explode it. And what it does now is it puts that into a line, and it puts that into a line, and it puts this into a solid, which is basically a three-pointed line that closes on itself. In other words, a triangle, and it's been filled with a color. It's not the same as a hatch, but it's the same type of thing. So we could then we'll just do a join nearest on these two so that I can manipulate that as a single entity. And then that will just have to make sure we bring them together. All right, so we're going to take these two things. We'll leave the arrowhead where it is, and we're going to move. So I'm typing M on the command line and choosing move so that I don't have to get the grip. And I want to do this for this reason. I'm going to select that and drag that down to that tip. Let me put this snapping back on. Okay. I want to bring that up there because I want these things to get repositioned. Now, these are a height of 8. The viewport is scaled at 100. So that text is 0.08. So that's pretty small. So you'll see we can't make it much smaller. So I'm going to take this one up here. This one we'll put down here a little bit further. And let's see what we do here. Oh, I see one thing I want to fix. That looks like chord bearings. It's chord bearing south. There's not a space in there. I don't know if you like that. equals or not, but I'd put a space in it. Quarter length. All right, I would do the same. Oh, here you got a little different. You've got equals down here. As they say, consistency is the hallmark of excellence. And I would wow. 50.8733 seconds.
Oh, I went through and rounded that. I took all that out. Somehow it came back. I rounded it up to 51.
Yeah, that's because it is annotation. And if you flink around, do anything that makes the lines move or shift or change, it recomputes that label and recreates it. So that's good for that. And I would take this and put him over here a little bit further. Now let's see if we can't. All right, I'm going to pull this over to the side to point to that, but it's going to be too big. It will get clipped. So I need to make sure that I open this up a little bit wider. Because remember, this text is in model space. I should put it here, and I'm going to take this one. And let's move him on this side. And him will get a little bit higher than him. So they're now all talking about what they are. We'll take this, bring it to the front. And I think if this thing starts goofing around, we're going to have to explode it as well. And I'm going to put this up here a ways. And now I'm going to, instead of it being right justified, I'm going to come over here now and change its justification to top left. Okay. And I'll scoot it over a little bit further. And let's see if we get a goofy thing with that arrow. No, that one's going to behave, it looks like. Except I want to take it there. Now, I think that's a little better. It's definitive. Even though we can't necessarily see all those little things, we do see that there's 3 pieces of monumentation. They are called out. Now that's another example. If remember, we did the work with the legend.
Yeah.
That's another possible reason, unless they have requirements for it, that you might want to always just make them into legend, and not worry about all the nomenclature for the point. Now I know they're points and they're point descriptions, but you could just turn those off and then just have it in the legend as describing what it is. So just not a rule one way or the other. Now here is something that I see pretty immediately, is that one. Look at that one compared to that one, size wise.
Yeah.
And this one, now that's an attribute. I don't think it has a direction. It does have an angle. Let's do this. There we go. All right, so did you follow what I did there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. And I think I'll pull that over here just to keep it away from that 200. Now here's also something. Uh-oh. There, and turn it off. Now, Mike, I'm not gonna sit here and put you through Ken's very picky kind of session like I always do, but here's something to keep in mind as well, just for some consistency issues. This is 5/8 inch rebar set, perfectly fine. Okay. This says found number 5 rebar, also perfectly found, and they refer to the very same thing other than one's set and one's found. So you really should read, number 5 rebar set and number 5 rebar found, or set 5/8 inch rebar found 5/8. You see what I'm saying? Just to be consistent. I wouldn't say to go and fix all those things. It's just that, they're a little bit inconsistent, and you can, just keep things to where they all are named the similar type things. Now, I'm going to let you fix this one, this found number 5 rebar. You're going to do a twist point attributes, and you're going to do that to match up with the twist screen. And so it's on that points menu. Unfortunately, it's not something you can just do with the grip. I don't think. You might be able to. And then what you're going to do on the prompts is you're going to do this by the twist screen amount. You're going to, in other words, reference it to the twist screen. So that's your option for T down at the bottom of the command line. There you go. And which attribute to twist. Now you could say all if you were showing them. The only one that I twisted on the other one was the description. So it's entirely up to you.
It's not letting me pick it.
No, you type D for description. You have to answer the question down at the bottom.
Oh. Name.
No, that's a D. That's a description. The name is 203 or whatever. Remember, you're talking about the attributes of a Carlson point. There's a point name or number, an elevation, and a description. And a symbol is also part of that. And if you look at that command line, that's what that's asking you. Which one do you want to twist?
Okay, so I do want the description.
Correct. And now, what angle relative to the amount that the screen is twisted? And you want it to be 0, so it's going horizontally straight across. Now, how are you going to select the points?
Screen.
So type S or just hit enter and now pick the point. Hit enter. Voila. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now the point size for that, and I don't know of any way to say match the size of that text. To match it to the other point attribute text size, other than you could maybe
This I should make smaller, shouldn't I? That's a lot bigger than that one.
Yeah, but it's also not, it's, when I did this over here, I did that very same thing. As I took a look at this, and over here, here where it says height, see that 8? Well, that 8 is 0.08 inches because you're at 100 scale.
Okay.
So you can't get them a whole lot smaller than that and still be able to read them, particularly if they reduce them with a photocopier. Okay. So you could make them maybe a little bit. So if you take these, now I don't know when it changes that. It's just, yeah, it's just the text part of it. Over here, you don't want to change. Well, it looks like those are text. They're pieces of text. So if you said 6, they would be like that. So these being text are not the same as those point descriptions. Okay, these are just been labeled. In fact, is this, I guess it is a point. Maybe not.
Yeah, it is. There are 3 points there.
There's one. 3/4 inch IPF, but you see this drawing description, it's blank.
Right.
So that's why it has the text, and that's fine. But that's a height of 6. Looks like that's what this is too, but that's not text. You see, those are attributes.
Right.
And there's no way to really set it with the properties, but here's a trick. First of all, if you, well, let me do this too. You see this versus this?
Yeah.
Up here's the founds. They're all the same. This one's smaller. Now we made these over here smaller on purpose. So if this needs to match that, or is it, are you intending to make these look different because you want the ones set? Okay, so they really also, actually this one's probably not a bad one to use. And that is SPT4. Now here's the deal with this. See, there's the 4.
Yeah.
It's a circle, right? And this one is, oh, it's also 4. It's just a different, it's just sized differently, apparently. Okay. So this is a layer called lots. This is a layer probably called boundary. Yep. Okay. If I match that, okay, so that made the symbol match. I'm going to bring that to the front to cover up that little dot, except I can't seem to. Yeah, I never see it. So now that I've done that, oh, what do I do? I think I undo, because now I've changed that size. That's a piece of text. That's, yeah, so that's part of why we're having this issue. So I'm going to undo. And I think what you wind up doing was maybe resizing this point. And when you do that, see this resize point attributes?
Yeah.
If you get all of it and you're trying to just change the text size, then this, if you say all, then these things change too. The symbols change too. So that's probably what happened, is my guess. And let's see now if we can figure out how to check this. Now we know this over here is 0.06 or 6 on the ground. And that's a 1/10 for the symbol size. This has been reduced. If you double click this, and if it's not a piece of text, it is, in other words, a Carlson point, it's going to put you in this, okay, which you're familiar with, right? Yeah. So that's not what we're going to do. But when you realize this is really nothing in the world more than a block, okay, Carlson calls it a point, treats it as such, but it's also a block. So if we sort of get out of our Carlson mode and we're going to do a block edit, I'm trying to find if they have that for you anywhere on your menus.
What would happen if you exploded it?
Then that word that says 5H rebar would convert to just its definition that would say DESC2 for description. That's what happens if you do a standard explode, but you can do a special kind of explode. And it's both here on the edit menu, explode. See that standard explode?
Yeah.
It would cease to be those words. If you said block explode, hold on a second, let me turn, sorry about that. If you said block explode, then it's going to take the value in that block and turn it into text. But the block is also, the point has been placed on a layer, it was inserted on. But that block was also created on a particular layer. In fact, the layer code, you've seen that PNTS, PNT, NO, PNT Mark, PNT ELEV, and PNT DSC. Those are the layers that it was created on, but the overall total thing was inserted on layer lots or boundaries or whatever. So that's why it's asking you down here at the screen now, the layer for the attributes. Original, that would go, that means that text would live on a layer called PNT SDSC or whatever. So we're going to say I for inserted so that it stays related to that point. And do we want to add a number to that layer? We'll say no. I don't know why they give you that choice. Now we're going to select it. So I'm going to select this. And there you see, now that's just text at this point, so it won't hurt to throw it away. So I've selected it and I'll delete it. Now you can select this and see that, all right, there's its 8. If I make that 6, okay. So you could do that, you know, all the way around. And this again is the same thing. That's a block. Why isn't it 3? That's 3. You've got 2 points there, huh?
Maybe.
All right, so it's 0.509. Found 5/8 rebar, number 5 RBF. And yet here is 3. If I click here, it's 2. It's 0.509. And now what that means is that this being 0.509, if I'm guessing you drew it twice, once to get the symbol and once to have the text. So if I double click the one that's 2 and I look at the symbol, I'm betting that's empty. Up, it made a fool of me. It's there, it's just doubled up. Whereas if I select this one, and I'm guessing it's probably also 509, yep, 0.509. And if I do this, you should see, yeah, see there's 2. And I still missed, there should be one more. There's 4, I've got 2 blocks, a point and a polyline. Let's try that. 3, 2 blocks and a point. Well, that's block, a point, but no symbol. Yeah, see? Whereas that one, so see if I take, oh man. All right, that one, I'm guessing doesn't have the description. Well, it does. It's the same thing. Well, anyway, let's just not beat this particular horse to death.
I remember something else now that I wanted you to look at. Can I
Okay.
show it to you?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, these lines are supposed to look like this. And what I did to try to change them was I went up to this paintbrush thing.
Yep.
And I picked this line.
Yep.
And I picked that line. And I picked that line. Oops. And nothing happened.
Okay, go ahead and finish the command. So what is going on is this. If you look down here, this is a polyline and it goes from here all the way out to here with no points in between.
Yeah.
And the symbol for that line has these dashes and gaps and dashes and gaps. And it's probably actually a little, it might be a little big. You know, you've only got that pattern showing up once, twice, three times across the whole property. And that's a good sized piece of paper. So if you look at this line, see, it only goes from here to here.
Yeah. Oh, there isn't enough room.
Right.
Okay.
So there's a way to fix that potentially, is that you would have, if this whole thing was a connected polyline, it had a line and arc, a line and arc, this long line, et cetera, et cetera. If it all formed one big giant closed figure, then you could set that to that polyline and it would draw itself. I mean that symbol would show up. Now it might show up in an inconvenient place. It might straddle a gap on the corner. So, you know, that's part of your trade-off with some of that. So what I would recommend doing first of all is let's see if we can't get that to be a little bit less large. And if we look at the polyline itself, it has a line type, which is defined on layer boundary. That's great. But it has a line type scale of 1, and that's okay. But the line type, I'm trying to get a reason why it would be easy to explain. The only thing that's the line type, global line type is turned down to 0.85. All I can tell you, Mike, right now is that AutoCAD, and because AutoCAD did it and IntelliCAD has to match what AutoCAD did, they don't really handle their line scaling as straightforwardly as they could. The rule of thumb then generally is that if it's too big, look at this line individually. It can all have a line, everything can have a line type scale. If you don't specifically set something to that, you see that line type scale is 1.
Yeah.
Then it takes on the line type scale of the global LT scale factor, which is 0.85. But in any case, this one was done. It's a little large. If we select it, and let's just say, so we can see the difference, let's make it 0.5. Okay, so you see how that tightened up?
Yeah.
And that actually doesn't look bad, does it?
Oh, looks good.
In fact, let's try it maybe just a little bit smaller, 0.35. Is that too much? Probably.
Yeah, it's probably better at 0.5.
All right. So we'll put that back to 0.5. All right, much nicer. I thought, I was starting to think, what's that little thing right there? You know what that is?
No.
That's the Y
Oh,
in
yeah.
this,
Okay. Yep.
in the icon. I did that. I tried to select something in a drawing earlier today, actually, and it was in MicroStation. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't grab it. It wouldn't. I said, man, what's going on? And it was, okay, I see. All right, so now I'll let you grab your paintbrush. I grabbed it here, and I'm gonna go. It's already grabbed, but
Okay.
pick that long line at the bottom. Okay, and now go ahead and pick each one of the lines that you want it to look like. And it, see, that showed up. And that's probably not going to show up there. Okay, that'll fix that. That fixes that.
Oops.
It's all right. Whoa. Don't wait. No, don't click. Go back away. Zoom in. You don't want to, okay, now, because you're in crossing, just go up there and cross that one line. If you'd cross the arrow dimension, it would have turned that into that same style too. You didn't want that. Okay. So that's done. The one on the left, the 231.72. And what about that one in the middle, or is that supposed to be solid?
That's supposed to be solid because it's a new line.
That's what I thought. Okay. What about the 5845 up above? And let's see. Well, let's go ahead and finish the command. Go ahead and hit enter. And right here was what I was talking about.
Yeah.
See how,
yeah.
like that's a line. See, it goes all the way across.
Right.
So you could do a couple things. You could make a line from here to here and then another line from here to here, or you could simply, even though it's on the same line, we could put a vertex in that line, and that would make it anchor right here. And I'll show you what we do with that. With the grips on, which you've selected the line, if you point to this one in the middle, hover the mouse, you see a little menu pops up. Pull the mouse down into the menu, and then we're going to say add a vertex. So you see what it's asking me to do is find a place.
Yeah.
The place I'm going to find it is right there, snapping to that one. Okay, now I have an endpoint here and here and here. Did that work? What happened? Specify, okay, click. Huh. Well, it didn't seem to work last time. All right. So now that makes that line go to that corner exactly without breaking. And part of that is because, and it could be different, if you have a patterned line type, when you go to a vertex, when you start off at the very first vertex, it starts drawing with that pattern, and it goes until it hits another vertex. And if there's enough distance between those two vertices to get the pattern drawn, it draws it. And then when it stops at that vertex and goes to the next vertex, whether it's continuing on in the straight line or whether it turns 90 degrees and goes off, doesn't matter. When it stops and goes to the next segment, it starts to draw the pattern over again. Okay, that's why you've seen maybe some maps, particularly like contour maps, where people are trying to draw dash line contours, or stream center lines where you've got the long blue line and then 3 dots and then the long blue line. And you'll see that, and it'll be okay as long as they've got a long piece of that polyline that allows the pattern to be done. But if it can't get the pattern drawn before it reaches that other vertex, then it starts it over again at that vertex. Now there's a solution, there's a setting to control that. And that is called line type generation. And you see I've got this highlighted.
Yeah.
I've selected rather. And I look over here in my properties, it says line type generation says no. Now if I change that to yes, see what it just did there?
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is when it's yes, and that's what you want to set polylines that represent contours or stream center lines where you want it to flow through the corners. You're not so concerned about the corners. You want to turn that polyline generation on.
Okay.
Now, they should have named it something differently. And MicroStation has it such that when they call theirs, they say it's called corner generation. Or I'm sorry, it's called corner mode. And the two choices are reset at corners or flow through corners. Now that's perfectly understandable. Line type generation on and off doesn't say much. All right, so I'm just being
Oh, these
a little.
changed again. I bet I've straightened that thing up a million times on this drawing.
What changed again? That?
This twisted around.
Okay, we'll fix it here in just a second.
And there's another one Mark did too.
This one. Yeah. All right. So, but anyway, that line type generation, for instance, this one, now this is important that you want those corners to show up. And it, see how that's sort of goofy?
Yeah.
So that's flowing through the corners, and that's now stopping and restarting at each corners when it's not turned on. All right, so keep that in mind, remember. Now, how do you fix the points? Do you remember?
These?
Yep.
Yeah, the way I do it is I go to I'm doing it by moving the point attributes.
No. Yeah, you don't want to do it by moving. You were there. You were almost there. Press
Well,
escape. Press escape and go back.
You can do it by moving, can't you?
You can, but what you're doing is when you do a move, you're actually physically rotating the point. We don't want to rotate the point. We want to rotate these attributes. So if you look at the, oh, I'm sorry.
Move point attribute.
Oh, I see. What does that do?
Well,
so if you select it,
you move it, and then you have an opportunity to.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
Oh, that didn't work so well.
Well, it did. It snapped. I see what it's doing. Press escape and undo that for a second. Yeah. Okay. So that would work. That would work just fine. Go ahead and press escape, Mike, and type undo. Or do that. Yeah. Now, if you do it, what is that? Just a little stray graphic. If you do it like we did the ones down on the bottom where we actually twist the point attribute.
Okay, you go to twist point attribute.
Yeah. What you were doing should work just fine. I don't know why it changed it back from what you did, but anyway. So if you, now remember, look at your prompts first. You have to answer the questions it's asking you.
Okay. Well, I guess I really want to follow a polyline, don't I?
No, well, I mean, you could, or you could, yeah, I mean, that's probably, yeah, I would say it's probably best for that.
Okay, so that would be F.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And the description is the only one we're worried about, so we would check that. Now select the polyline. Nope, select the reference polyline to follow. There you go. So you select that. Now you're going to hit enter to finish that selection. And now select the points by what method? Answer that question first and then select the
Agree.
point. Okay, so now pick the point.
I wonder if I can get over here to do that one.
What do you do? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I guess you could do all of them at once. Okay, good. So now what deflection do you want it from that polyline? And you would say,
0.
well,
Or,
yeah, exactly. Okay. And that's why when it asks you to follow, when it asks you to pick the polyline, that's why it allowed you to pick multiple polylines, because you're also then able to pick multiple points. And see now what it's asking you next, what is the maximum offset to follow the polylines? In other words, if the point description, if the point attribute is further than, in this case, 100 feet away, then don't rotate it. But you know, we're pretty close. If you could say 100, that's fine, and it'll fix it. But that's a way to filter. Now, flipping text to a screen simply means if it's following a polyline and that polyline changes direction, and a point would just blindly follow it, but if in doing so it made it read upside down based on where it is on the page and the way we look at the map with the top at the top and the bottom at the bottom, then it will just flip it 180 degrees. So it's a nice little thing to have. So I would say yes to do that. And there they are. Now you just go up there and click each one individually and grab the grip and move it. Not
well,
the
now
grip
you're
of the,
moving the point.
no, not the grip of the point. Zoom in. See that dot right there by the U? That's the one you want to grab. No, let it snap. You missed it. Hover the mouse, press escape, and then hover the mouse. And when it turned, now click and drag. Or just click and you can let it up and drag. Okay. Now zoom back out. So make sure you're far enough off that line. That looks good, probably.
Yeah, okay, now I have to have this drawing in today, and
All right.
the person I'm submitting it to has to submit it to the county, so I probably need to do that.
Okay.
Um,
So, well, first of all, before you abandon that last little operation,
oh, look at this, the PS symbol again.
okay. All right, hang on a second before we do this. This one, I wanted to make sure we repositioned this one. There we go. Or do you want it down here?
No, that's fine, that's good.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so what is going on with that? And I do not know. Let's save.
Oh, there are two there.
Ah, are there?
Well, the one symbol looks pretty good. No, it's all the one.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's just the one. If you,
I may just have to quit using it and seal by hand.
now, here's what we're going to do right now. Let's undo that for a second. Let's open the block. Then we'll edit the block attributes, open XREF, except it's not an XREF. Okay. If we open, edit place. I don't think I want to open the block editor. There it is. I'm in the editor. So that's a piece of text. It is, why is it 0.34? It should be, all right, so let's take it. Let's select similar. No,
Wait a minute, how about if we do this? How about if we delete it and I print it and send it out? Because it's not going to matter whether the seal's on it or not for this first submission.
Okay.
And then we can come back.
All right, we'll do that. So 0.125. Yeah, see, that's what we need to be doing. We could fix this pretty quickly. And you got it, or it's all text. There we go. Get the right edge on it. And then we can do all these. Because they're not individual. Then that would be something. Don't know what they are exactly. And then what does that say? License. That'd be professional.
Professional surveyor.
Yeah, all right. So that one's going to be also that. No, that's going to be the same size here. So it's going to be 0.125. Yeah, all right. It's somewhere in there is the West Virginia, and it needs to be just a little bit smaller. Let's see if I can select by fence. Yes. Okay, good. And that's all going to be 0.125. And then this one is, I'm going to select as well by fence. Here to here to here to here to here. Finish, finish, and 0.085. Okay, right? We
Yeah.
then will save this. S to save. And this should work. We'll save your drawing. This should work now long enough to get it plotted and out the door, but then so I won't take the time right now, but at some point we'll just generate that. We'll plot just this and convert it into an image. In fact, we'll go open up the original block, and we'll do it that way. Here's one I missed. I'm glad I saw that. And it's the period. There we go. And save that. Okay. So when that, when we get to that point, we'll just open that up. We'll make a PDF of it, and off we go.
Okay.
So save that. Anything else for now? Or does that get you where you're headed?
No, I think that gets me where I need to be. Let me see if this comes out right.
Okay. And by the way, understand that preview is not 100% exact. It's exactly what it says. It's a preview, and that looks pretty good, actually. Because sometimes, there's some subtle variations in line weights and stuff like that, transparencies.
The PDF looks pretty good.
Okay.
Hopefully it's the right size.
Yep.
Now let me go ahead and send that out via email.
Hey, do you know what ever happened to, oh gosh, I was thinking his name. He worked for Dewberry. I think he might have worked with you up at your office. Joe, was that it? I thought it was something like Scully or Shelley or something. Joe. What did you say his name was, Joe?
Kent. K-E-N-T.
Like K-N-T. No, that wasn't him that I'm thinking about. This was, maybe it wasn't Dewberry. Maybe it was somebody else that he worked. Pardon?
Joe Beatty.
Yes. And didn't he go to Langen Engineering?
No, he went to, I'll think of it in a minute.
Or someplace.
Bechtel.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's
He worked for Bechtel for quite a few years. What he worked on specifically was the Dulles.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they called it.
The Dulles connector, or
yeah, he worked on that until it was finished, and I don't know what he's doing now. Actually, I've tried to find that out. I've been curious about it. I was linked with him on LinkedIn, but it doesn't really say.
Right. Yeah, I was. It seemed to me he was at one of the. Remember, we were around to all the different Dewberry offices. Harry and I did to demonstrate the software, and before they bought it. He was at one of those meetings. That's where I met him, and then I saw him later. I guess he was with Bechtel or somebody at that point. But he had changed, and I just wondered where he went, and there was somebody else that I knew who worked for the Baltimore District Corps of Engineers, and his dad actually wound up becoming the not the Secretary of Transportation, but the director of the Federal Highway Administration, something like that. Anyway, yeah, it's a small world until you realize that, well, you know, somebody's in that office doing that job, and they live somewhere. They come from somewhere to do something, so might as well be them. So,
Okay,
all
so
right.
do we want to change this thing to an image now?
Oh yeah, we could do that. Except let me see here. Let's all right, that looks good. So what I want to do is this is I want to measure this thing. It is at that scale. So if I draw a circle, and if I do it from the insertion point of that and put it out to right there, it's the center of that. I don't want the center. I'll take the, just say none for here. I just want to get it close enough. There. Click. Oh, come on. All right. That is 1.57, probably meant to be. All right, 1.5 through the middle of the braid. So 1.57, 1.57 through there. All right, then I'll take, come on. Take that out of there, don't need that anymore. And I also will sit here and make the current layer. So I'm on here. All right. So now what I want to do is plot that, or can I export it? I'm not sure. Let me see if I change, if I go to another here, if I make a new tab, I won't bother calling it anything. In fact, I don't even need the viewport. And let's just insert that block. Let's see if it may have the bad definition. I think it should work. PS stamp, insert. Yeah, it's going to work. I'll just put it right there. And I'm going to draw a square or a frame around it, a little rectangle. And that's going to be at 1.57 comma 1.57, except I didn't type the 1 correctly. And I'm going to now move this. I'm sorry, it's so convoluted here. From that center point to the insertion point of the block. And I'm going to put these little points or these little lines right here. And I'll get rid of this. And I want those to be on a non-plotting layer. Def points, okay. I'm gonna put it on, I'll make it red. And I'm gonna put it on def points. And I'm gonna now plot this. But because, oops, sorry, I'll plot it here. Normally it would plot that whole page, we'd preview it and you'd see that. It's obviously not what we want. So what we're going to do though, instead of plotting the layout, we're going to plot a window and then we're going to show it the window. So we're going to plot from here to here. And let's see if that would be all right, except now you see the, and that's on a letter page size. So let's say, oh, there it is. I'm trying to find it. Center on the page. And let's see if we can find a custom. Guess not. Center on the page should do it. Here we go. Maybe this will be a better route if I say there's a PDF. If I publish to the web PNG, let me try that for a second. We'll try these a couple of different ways here. Now I've got that. What on earth just happened? Well, don't like that. Put it back to PDF is all we can do. And let's see if we can't make a 2-inch by 2-inch sheet. Yeah, I know. Oh, come on. Are you going to go through this for every single one of those? All right. Add a sheet size. We're going to just call it a 2 by 2. And it's going to be 2 inches by 2 inches. Say okay, say okay. Sure. Or a PS stamp. Let's turn this off for a minute. Plat. These styles. Yeah, I'll keep those red. All right, and center on the page. The paper size. Now, did this actually save it? It's 11 by 17. There it is. Yep. Apply to layout. Perfect. All right. Oops. All right, now where's your CAD resources folder?
Okay.
All right, while that's open, change the name down there where it says file name, just call it PS stamp dash. Yeah, PS stamp dash dash image or raster.
Let's go raster.
RASTER. All right, now before you do that though, we have to change. Let's see, we got to go back. Answer that for a second. This we don't want. That's trying to write to a plot file. I want to write to a PDF. There we go. Now, now it's a PDF. Okay, now go back to that CAD resources and just call it PDF-image or PDF-raster, something like that, so you know it's the stamp. But it's not a drawing file. There you go. That should do it. Save that. And that's what it will look like. Now, because it's going to be a PDF file when we bring it in, it's going to have that white background behind it. I just wonder, let me try something real quick, Mike. What did we say that was? 1.57, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oops, add document information view. That's good. All right, save that. Oops. Well, I didn't like that. Let's try it again. Oh, here's what I didn't do, I think. No, still it didn't save. And let's add. Yeah, we've been through this before. Okay, 1.57 by 1.57. There it is, way up there. And okay, yes. Yes, or okay, rather. Preview that. Oh, I forgot to put this as that. I would preview that. There we go. That's more what? More like what Dr. Excuse me. More like what me and Dr. Martin Luther had in mind. All right. What happened? Okay, that's all good, good, good. And bada bing, bada boom. Plot. All right, drive us back to, wait a minute, is that? No matching media. You know, of course, Michael, that it should not be this hard. Print unexpected error. Wow. That's fine. We'll just use the 2x2. Actually, just leave it in here just for now. And let's go from here to here. And we want to do a PDF attach. And find us our file, please, sir. Okay. And we answer the questions, page number 1. Specify the location point. Now this is going to be the lower left of that. The scale factor we'll leave at 1 and rotation is east. Okay, so now we're going to take this and move it from here to here. So far, so good. And why is it washed out looking? Because it's got a fade of 50%. Monochrome should be on. But I want the frames. I want the frame to go away. like that. Frame of 0. Now, if we look at this, and see C, that's what I'm afraid of. See what it's doing?
Mhm.
The background of it is blocking out that text behind it. So what we need to do is this. Excuse me. We select it and change it. Adjust color. Background for on. I think that will do it. Nope. How about then if we maybe just should have done this first time. Send it to the back. That should do it. There we go. All right. And we'll call this one just go back to your other place if you want it and just call it test. Or,
Oh, you mean where we're
yeah,
plotting?
right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't care where you put it. I just didn't want it to be left in that CAD resources all the time. Or you can call it junk or something that you know that you don't have to worry about keeping because you've already got one sent. But I want to see what this looks like in the PDF. Oh, look at that. Yeah, zoom in there a little tighter. Here, let me. Here, Mike, or something. If you're using a PDF, if you'll hold the Control key down and use the wheel on your mouse.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things I hate about Windows types of programs because one company decides, I'm going to do it this way instead of the way everybody else does it. So nobody knows that until, it's just stupid. Google Maps is that way, or Google Earth rather. Same kind of thing. So anyway, hey, that looks nice and crisp and sharp. The thing is though, if you ever change your name or something, need to do it again, we'll have to go back through the process. But for now, it's just an image.
Okay, so I
And
just bring it in and I bring it to the put it to the back like you did, and it should be good.
yes, that is correct. And I would, right now you're just going to be placing it. Well, I mean, you could like draw a line from the top of this, like you do it on a new sheet. You don't know where that point is that you put it, but you could draw a line from this top one down to this top to this bottom one. Click nearest and then snap perpendicular.
Yeah.
And then when you place that PDF, you're going to just choose it and you're going to answer, answer the questions, one of which is how many pages or page number, and you're going to just take the default on everything. So it comes in on 11111. Okay. And then it's going to show up with its frame around it. And if you select it, you'll see that little box with grips. Grab the center grip and move it to the midpoint of that line you just drew. And then you can slide it left and right and all that kind of stuff. Just, eyeball place it should be fine.
Right.
Now, what happens though is when it comes in, unless you have something previously set up. Oh, so we can go ahead and get out of this. If you had, unless you have something previously set up in the drawing template file, you may have to turn your frames off. So if you still see that frame, even though we send it to the back, but remember, it's the white paper that we sent to the back underneath these lines. The frames are controlled by this variable right here. Okay, so, and it's the boundary around images, including wipeouts, by the way, that it has a setting 0, 1, or 2. And in AutoCAD, it also goes up to 3, I think. But when that happens, based on what that number is, whatever that setting is, it controls how the frames work. The frames can either be on where you can see them, or you can see them and they'll also plot. So with it like this, if I go to plot it, I think this would be the kind that, no, okay, so 2 apparently lets you see it, and the reason you would want to see it is so that you would know where to click on it to select it, okay? So you could ignore the frames, but they sort of get in your way. If you don't want to see them, then type frames and, oops, just frame, sorry. And make it a 0, and that turns it completely off. But that turns it off for other things too. So
have I got any
anyway.
other frames?
You've got an image up here. Okay, so it has a frame. Let's see, what is it? No, actually that doesn't, because that's coming at the viewport. Okay, but that viewport is out here somewhere, wasn't it? Yes, there it is. Okay. So now, see, now you can select that because the frame happened to be right there. See it? That one wasn't necessary, but sometimes the frame is out here somewhere and you can't really see it. That's why that variable is there for you. All right. Yeah, here's the part though that I was, you could just send it to the back, but it's also, it should, with that white background, I say, it could come in like this though. I think this was the default and it looked all washed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was it that you changed?
So you'll select it and look over here in the properties, and it has a couple of things right here in the middle. And you see it is by default set to go to a 50% fade.
You turn that to
so
0.
You turn that to 0. And then I turn monochrome on, so it's only black and white. It doesn't pick up any subtleties of grays or anything like that.
Okay.
And you could say adjust the color for the background, and that's supposed to, if it's on, let's see if it works.
Oh, my wife just sent me a text that she broke the belt on the mower. I need to go rescue her.
Oh, bless her, bless you. All right. So anyway, if you have that set on, Yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking at. See, it says adjust color for the background. This is a black background, so it changed it
Mhm.
to match that. So it's not anything that on your paper side that you need to really worry about. So anyway, let's come back to that. And let's go to here. Let's get that in shape and save it and be done. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sirree. Any other questions, let me know. But hopefully you're enjoying your journey. And it sounds like maybe you probably enjoyed your trip to North Carolina. I think that would be fascinating to go down there and see where that all happens.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty exciting.
good. Good for you. All right. Well, go rescue your lovely. And it's close enough to 5 o'clock. I think I'm going to declare the fact that it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So you
Sounds
know
like
what
a
that
good idea
means.
to me.
All right, brother. You be good.
Take care.
Yes, sir. I'll send you the link to the what left of the recording that we had and all that when it's processed. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You bet. Bye bye.
Bye.